So here's another video where I take Deep Rock Galactic characters and turn them into D&D homebrew subclasses. In this video I will be converting the Gunner character into another Artificer subclass. Now I only have one more character from Deep Rock Galactic after this to turn into a subclass, so let me know in the comments what you guys think would be another game that you would like me to convert characters or classes from into D&D subclasses. I swear they won't all be Artificer subclasses. Anyways, prepare to be useless on low hazard missions and blamed for there being too many bugs on high hazard missions, because this is the Gunner for Artificers in D&D. So let's get straight into the subclass, starting off with the description. Not all artificers choose the path of tinkering or alchemy. Some are drawn to the mesmerizing allure of firearms and the destructive potential of combining magic with machinery. Gunner artificers are relentless combatants, able to rain down destructive spells that wreak havoc on the battlefield. Their fusion of magic and machinery creates a symphony of devastation, making them a formidable force to be reckoned with. Whether defending their allies or laying waste to their foes, Gunners are the masters of the Arcane Gatling Gun, forging a path uniquely their own in the world of artifice and invention. So that was the flavor text and description for the subclass, and something you might notice as part of this is I have not mentioned anything about a zipline. Now, for my previous Artificer subclasses, I had been using the special item or tool that they get as part of their kit to be the main focus of the subclass, right? For drillers, it was their drills, and for scouts, it was their grappling hook. Well, I'm taking a different approach this time with the Gunner. The Gunner's utility is the zipline, which to me just isn't very compelling as a D&D ability or item, being able to just zipline from one place to another. In fact, the Scout subclass I did already kind of had that feature built in with one of the cable customizations, so having the zipline be the main focus here I felt was not right. And besides all that, the name of the character is Gunner, and so the emphasis really is going to be on the gun that the Gunner gets in Deep Rock Galactic, the machine gun, the thunder cannon, whichever gun you pick when you play Gunner. The idea of having a large, heavy projectile, fast-firing gun is going to be sort of the theme that I picked for this subclass. Now, not every D&D world allows for the usage of black powder-based firearms and things like that. In some D&D worlds, that sort of thing is just being invented, and in some, it hasn't been invented yet at all. So, for this gun that you're going to use as part of the subclass, I'm going to be having it be more of an arcane-focused weapon. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's first talk about the Tool Proficiency that you get at 3rd level as part of the subclass.
So unfair!
You gain proficiency with Smith's tools. If you already have this proficiency, you gain a proficiency with one other type of artisan's tool of your choice. This is, of course, very standard for Artificer subclasses, getting a tool proficiency here. So moving from there, let's talk about the spells that you also get as part of the subclass at 3rd level. At 3rd level Artificer, you get the 1st level spells Bane and Inflict Wounds. At 5th level Artificer, you get the 2nd level spells Misty Step and Scorching Ray. At 9th level Artificer, you get the 3rd level spells Lightning Bolt and Fireball. At 13th level Artificer, you get the 4th level spells Blight and Wall of Fire. And at 17th level Artificer, you get the 5th level spells Cone of Cold and Flame Strike. So, like all other Artificer subclasses, I'm sure you're familiar with this by now, you get a few spells to add to your spell list that you always have prepared and don't count against how many you know. So these are the spells I chose, and I chose most of these spells just around sort of a Gunner, a damage dealing type of character who's using their spells to do damage. So that was the main thought behind most of these picks. So now let's get into the actual meat of the subclass here and talk about the first ability that really defines the subclass and will define the subclass going forward to all the other abilities afterwards. And that is the ability you get at 3rd level called Arcane Gatling Gun.
God damn it, there's a pebble in my boot.
You can use a set of Tinker's tools or Smith's tools to create an Arcane Gatling Gun at the end of a short or long rest. You can only have one gun at a time and can't create one while one is already present. You can dismiss the gun at any time. The Arcane Gatling Gun is a spellcasting focus that requires 2 hands to wield. Spells and cantrips cast through the gun that deal extra damage equal to your intelligence modifier. Additionally, as an action you may expend a spell of first level or higher into the gun to supply it with arcane fuel. The level and school of the spell will affect the properties of the fuel and the gun. The gun cannot be fueled by more than one spell at a time, and if a new spell is fed into the gun, the effects of the previous are overwritten. Fueled by abjuration. Your Gatling gun thrums with a vibrant blue energy emanating a protective field from the gun. When you or any allies within 20 feet of you take damage, you may reduce the amount of damage taken by 2. This reduction in damage increases by 2 for every spell level above first used as the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. Fueled by conjuration. Your Gatling gun shakes as it emits a static field. When you cast a cantrip or spell using the gun as a focus, roll a d4. On a roll of 1 or 4, you teleport to an unoccupied space of your choice within 5 feet of you. The maximum distance of this teleportation increases by 5 feet for every level above first, used as the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. Fueled by divination. Your Gatling gun pulses with a calming white light from its chassis. Cantrips and spells casted using this gun as a focus have an increase to their range by 5 feet. Spells with the range of touch would now have a range of 5 feet. This range increases by 5 feet for every spell level above first uses the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. Fueled by enchantment. Your Gatling gun glitters, creating a shimmering purple aura around you. All allies within 20 feet of you have a +1 to ability checks and saving throws. This bonus increases by 1 for every spell level above first used as the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. Fueled by evocation. Your Gatling gun shudders with power, emitting bursts of elemental energy through its exhaust ports. Whenever you cast a damaging cantrip or spell using the gun as a focus, you deal an extra 2 damage of the same type as the cantrip or spell. This extra damage increases by 2 for every spell level above first used as the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. Fueled by illusion. Your Gatling gun appears to be blurry and shifting, yet remains perfectly functional. When you cast a cantrip or spell targeting one creature using the gun as a focus, the target must also make a DC 6 Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target believes you are its ally until the start of your next turn. The DC of this effect increases by 1 for every spell level above first used as the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute. Fueled by necromancy. Your Gatling gun reeks a foul stench of decay, and blood trickles from its seams. When you cast a cantrip or a spell using the gun as a focus, your HP maximum is reduced by 1. However, every ally within 20 feet of you is healed for the same amount. This HP reduction and healing increases by 1 for every spell level above first uses the fuel. This effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. When the effect ends, your HP maximum returns to normal. Fueled by transmutation. Your Gatling gun begins to warp the weave of magic around you. When this effect begins, you must choose a damage type. All damaging spells cast within 15 feet of you, including your own, are transmuted into your chosen damage type. The distance of this effect increases by 5 feet for every spell level above first uses the fuel. The effect lasts for 1 minute or until dismissed. So this first ability you get, the Arcane Gatling Gun, is a fairly long ability in terms of text, but the actual subclass itself will not be any longer than any other. This first ability is just quite extensive because it gives you a lot of options, and these options are going to be relevant and scale with you throughout your Artificer career. So to kind of summarize what's going on here, you have this Gatling gun that you can hold and is your focus for spells, and when you damage creatures using the Gatling gun as the focus, you do extra damage equal to your intelligence modifier, which means that all of your damaging spells and cantrips are going to just be empowered by using the gun as the focus for your spells. But secondarily, you can also feed this gun with spell slots. Any spell first level or higher can be fed into the gun, and depending on the level and the school of the spell will affect the feature that you get as part of the Gatling gun. Now, all of these features give very minor benefits seemingly at first, but of course, as you get higher level spell slots and begin using those to feed into the gun, these effects get stronger as you get higher spells to feed to it. Now, I tried as best I could to balance these abilities that you get around the sort of equivalency to what a first level spell, right, would get you versus what a third level spell would get you in terms of just casting the spell versus feeding it into your gun. I wanted the effects of feeding it into the gun to be of similar usefulness to just casting the spell as you would normally rather than feeding it into the gun. Now, something I will mention about these effects is that these effects sort of outpace the spell over an extended amount of time, right? So if you feed an evocation spell of first level into your gun, then you would be getting 2 extra damage to all of your evocation spells and cantrips for the next 1 minute. Now, if the combat encounter that you do this in lasts for 3 rounds, then in total you haven't really gotten all that much extra damage, maybe the equivalent to a first level spell like Burning Hands. But if this combat encounter were to last for 5, 6, or 7 rounds, now feeding that magic into your gun has substantially outpaced the effectiveness of just casting a first level spell. So overall, the longer a combat encounter lasts, the more effective these buffs that you're giving from your gun are going to be versus just expending a spell slot to actually just cast a spell. So this first ability here is going to give you lots of options to sort of use your gun for different abilities, and these things will scale with you over time as you get higher level spell slots to spend on doing these sorts of things. So now let's move on to talking about the 5th level ability you get, which is Ergonomic Design.
Rock and roll!
You have modified your Arcane Gatling Gun to be lighter and more user-friendly. You may now wield your Gatling Gun in one hand. You may also now choose to supply the Gatling Gun with arcane fuel as a bonus action or an action. So this 5th level ability here is a bit of a minor one. It's just going to make the Gatling Gun a bit easier to use and a bit more convenient for you. So it'll allow you to put something in your other hand while you use it, as well as allow you to choose bonus action or action to feed it, which can be very helpful in combat when sometimes you need those things for drinking potions or doing specific actions. Now you might be thinking that so far this Gatling Gun doesn't really feel like a Gatling gun, it just feels like a gun that can shoot spells. Well, this 9th level and the 15th level ability we're going to get here are going to sort of amp up this Gatling gun and make it feel more like a Gatling gun, something that fires spells quickly. So let's talk about the 9th level feature that we get, which is Fire for Effect.
Blow it up, Bosco!
You have modified your Arcane Gatling Gun to be more efficient at cycling low-level arcana. Using your Gatling Gun as a focus, when you cast a cantrip as an action, you may cast another cantrip that requires an action to cast as a bonus action instead. So a very short description of this ability here, but a very impactful ability, because now what this ability does for you is it means essentially you can take an action cantrip like Firebolt or Ray of Frost and cast it twice in a single turn. And this is especially important for you, being that the gunner is pushing you sort of into a spellcaster focused role, yet you are a half caster as an artificer. So you're going to have a very limited pool of spell slots to use even at higher levels compared to other casters. So you rely a lot on your cantrips to supplement that damage. So being able to use your Gatling Gun to sort of rapid fire cantrips is going to help a lot for your damage effectiveness and your efficiency given longer battles and more time between long rests. And now the next feature that you're going to get, and the final feature you'll get as part of this subclass, is going to even further make your Arcane Gatling Gun feel more rapid fire and more like a Gatling gun. So let's talk about that ability, which is the Advanced Arcane Receiver. Your Arcane Gatling Gun now has a much smoother system for cycling high-level arcana, as well as the secondary fuel cell. Using your Gatling Gun as a focus, when you cast a cantrip as an action, you may cast a spell of first level or higher that requires an action to cast as a bonus action. Your Arcane Gatling Gun may now be fueled by 2 different types of magic at once, gaining the effects of both types. If you have 2 fuels active, and activate a third, you may pick which of the 2 to overwrite. So this 15th level feature is going to now very much amp up your Gatling gun and make it feel like a Gatling gun, and is going to give you a lot of functionality, because sort of similar to my Scout subclass, now we've taken an ability that we've had for our entire character's career of being able to infuse our gun with different types of magics that give us different abilities, and now do that twice and combine 2 different effects. Now, of course, you're going to have to spend multiple spell slots to do that, but having 2 different effects going that you get to choose the level of both for is going to be very nice, so that you can have that rolling. And with the ability we got at 5th level of being able to do this as a bonus action or action to infuse our gun, now we can get that whole thing rolling and having 2 effects in the first round of combat. But now on top of that here, when you use a cantrip as an action as part of your Gatling gun, you can then essentially quicken a spell, one of your spells, as a bonus action through the Gatling gun. So this is going to allow you to take an action cantrip and an action spell and cast them both in the same turn, which is a very powerful ability to have. So that was the gunner for Artificers in D&D. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Check the description for a link to D&D Beyond to find the subclass. And I'll see you guys on Hoxus.